Let's have a chat about the Virgo new moon happening on September 23rd or 22nd, depending on where you live. It's going to be an interesting one, and especially because we have two new moons in Virgo happening this season. The later one in September is going to be an eclipse. So, this theme of Virgo and Pisces is definitely going to be present for the next little while. And I think that this new moon is going to be like a precursor, a little appetizer to also what could be happening later in eclipse season. Remember that I am also giving away a free reading. When we reach 2,000 subscribers, I'm giving away one free reading of choice to one of my subscribers. So make sure you hit subscribe. And of course, if you need extra support during this new moon, my books are open. The booking link is down below in the description box. This new moon is squaring Uranus. And that can bring a little bit of suddenness, a little bit of unexpected energy. Things might be happening that we did not expect and we didn't see coming. And specifically, we might find ourselves really keenly aware of all of the ways that we're failing at life. All of the things in our life that could be better. For some of us, that's our career. For some of us, that's the cleanliness of our home. For some of us, that's our relationship, what kind of a partner we are, what kind of a daughter or a mother we are. And you might find that these realizations just come out of nowhere. You think like everything's fine in your relationship, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I am really failing as a partner and letting my partner down. And with this Virgo energy, because of us noticing all of the ways that we could improve, we might also suddenly feel very motivated to do that, to start improving, to start doing things better. We might find ourselves all of a sudden, we're never there for our partner. We always put our work before our partner. And all of a sudden, we are the type of person that's carving out 30 minutes a day to make a phone call to our partner to see how they're doing. There are going to be these emotions and this energy of wanting to do things better. And you might already find yourself putting in some of those steps during the new moon. And I also want to mention that the energy of Virgo is also about service. So for a lot of us, we might be keenly aware of what are we actually contributing to this world? Is it something of use? Are we just, posting random things on TikTok, and are we just using up all the Wi-Fi and all the water and just, polluting the earth? Or are we making meaningful contributions? For some of us, that could be, writing something beautiful or contributing something at our work, or if we're a psychologist, helping people with their quality of life. For others, it could also be just more local. We're contributing to raising a child, helping raise them into a wonderful human. So this new moon could make you really reflect on that. How are you contributing to society? And you might find yourself feeling motivated to make a better contribution. However, at the end of the day, I do think this Virgo energy will be a lot more on the internal side of things, and a lot more on, put your head down and work rather than make huge steps outwards. And the reason I say this is because of what's happening with the planets around this new moon. We have Saturn and Neptune that are retrograde, signaling this more reflective energy. We have Mars in Libra, which can sometimes dampen our motivation and our energy. And Jupiter and Venus are still in Cancer. It's a wonderful, nurturing type of energy, not the type of energy that, goes out and yells and parties and dances like everybody's watching. So therefore, I think that a lot of this energy of being conscious of the ways we're failing and wanting to improve them will end up being, maybe us journaling about it, maybe us having conversations with our dear ones about it. And it might be channeled also into us just putting our head down and working on it. We might not see the fruits of our labor yet, and we might not even feel energetic enough to action any of it yet, especially because Mars is in Libra. Later in September, when Mars goes into Scorpio, we might feel more ready to put it into action. And one final part I want to mention about this new moon, and then we'll jump into the zodiac sign horoscopes. Venus will be opposing Pluto. So for a lot of us, we're going to be addressing the fears that we have when it comes to our relationships. It doesn't have to be romantic relationships. Any time that we're relating to another human being also qualifies. For some of us, it could be, I want to make these changes, but how are my colleagues going to perceive me? For others, I want to, start being healthy. I want to start eating better, but what is my partner going to think of that? I want to start showing up for myself and start exercising. Oh, but are my children going to think I'm selfish? So the effects that these improvements will have on those closest to us will definitely be top of mind during this new moon. Now let's jump into each of the 12 zodiac signs. I recommend watching for your rising sign, but you're also welcome to watch for your sun sign. You might find that that's just as applicable. Aries. This is a classic new moon for you, specifically because you are going to want to improve your health, your exercise, your diet, your day-to-day routine. And that's quite classic for all of us. It might not be January 1st, but I think a lot of us have these ambitions of wanting to eat better or to move our body. So you might definitely be aware of all of the ways you're failing in that regard. When we're talking about Pluto during this new moon, remember it's going to oppose Venus. So specifically for you, I want you to take a look at the fears that you have about the future, the fears that you have about achieving the goals that you have for yourself. Maybe you truly have a goal of wanting to lose 50 pounds. However, you might not have done it yet because there's a fear. There's a fear of you not being able to go out with your friend anymore to have dinner every Sunday because, that doesn't fit in with your new lifestyle, with your new diet. You're afraid that relationship's going to suffer. Maybe you're afraid that once you lose that weight, those closest to you are going to judge you, are going to feel like you're better than them. That relationship is not going to be as strong anymore. Address those things during this new moon, and you might find that motivates you to actually start putting in the work and start improving. Taurus, this is an interesting new moon for you because it's going to make you reflect on the way you approach fun and your hobbies. And having that Virgo energy there is most likely going to make you look at what you're doing for fun and sort of start picking it apart. You might realize that certain things that you thought were fun are not actually fun, but a lot of the times you might actually start to take them seriously. You might say, this is my hobby. I enjoy it so much. Why am I putting up with, wearing these crappy clothes or these crappy shoes while I'm doing it? Why am I, torturing myself and I don't know if your hobby's like coloring. Why am I torturing myself with these crappy coloring pencils? There's definitely going to be a need to improve all of your creative and fun pursuits. And when it comes to Pluto, during this new moon, be aware of the fears that are coming up of how others will perceive you when you do this. Are you afraid that people are going to think, oh, now she thinks she's an artist because she got fancy pencils? Are you afraid, people are going to think, oh, well, she's better than us now because she has the newest running shoes? address those fears that might really help motivate you to actually start putting in the work towards those improvements. Gemini, this new moon is all about your family and your home. You might become very aware of the imperfections in your home, or the imperfections maybe with some of your family members or your relationship to your family members. And you might want to start improving them, start making them better. Of course, the Virgo energy is very much about being of service. And because it's in this fourth house, it's a relational house. You might also find yourself during this new moon really spending a lot of time helping family members and being there for them if they need that help. Specifically during this new moon, what could help is to take a look at fears that you have around your belief system. Are you somebody that is afraid to share your beliefs loud and proud? Are you somebody that is perhaps afraid to share what you believe because you think that's gonna end up, causing a drift between you and certain family members? There's something you believe that you are afraid to share because of the impact it will make, because of the relationships it might impact. And during this new moon, Gemini, you might find that addressing that fear helps you in getting closer to your family and improving that relationship with them. Cancer. This new moon on September 22nd or 23rd is all about improving your communication. You might become keenly aware of how you speak, what words you use, and the fact that they maybe don't relay the ideas that you want to relay. And I think especially if you're somebody that writes or produces content or teaches, you will definitely notice this new moon. What could help? I want you to take a look at what Pluto is bringing up for you during this new moon. Most likely for you, it's going to be fears that you have around being vulnerable and open. What do you think will happen when you sit down with somebody and you share maybe some of your darker thoughts, some of the thoughts that you wouldn't share with, a random stranger on the street? You might find that tapping into those fears and deciding to open up to somebody, even though you're afraid, will translate beautifully into your communication, motivate you further to maybe continue writing, to continue speaking. Maybe it will tap into those emotions that's actually what you need when it comes to your communication. Leo, this new moon is going to make you very aware of your finances. And specifically, you might feel like there are some things you want to improve about your financial situations or about the way you handle your finances. And you might find yourself during this time helping others with finances as well, because this Virgo energy can symbolize service, being of service. I do want you, Leo, to take a look at any fears that are coming up with your partner, with your relationship during this new moon. Are you afraid that your partner is going to impact your finances in a negative way? Are you afraid to talk to your partner about finances? There could be some fears that you might need to address around this new moon in order to help motivate you to improve your financial situation, in order to help you get going with all these financial goals that you have. Virgo, this new moon might make you quite self-conscious. It's in your sign, so you might start to be really particular about but this outfit is not really me. Or, the way I said that, then maybe people are going to perceive me a different way, but that's not really who I am. That's not really what I meant. It's a lot of this getting into your head and being overly aware of every move, every position, every word that you say. So it can be quite a bit uncomfortable, especially, if you have your sun, your moon, or your ascendant around the degrees of this new moon. What could help Virgo during this time is to take a look at fears that you have of responsibilities. Are you afraid that having a certain responsibility is going to tie you down? Are you afraid that having a certain responsibility is going to make you likely to fail or is going to increase the chances of failure? Are you afraid that responsibilities are going to make your days not enjoyable? Addressing these fears might really help you with some of these more self-conscious feelings that you might be having during this new moon. Libra, you are probably very aware of your spiritual routine during this new moon, and specifically all of the ways that it could be improved. You might start being quite picky with your routine. You might start feeling like, but journaling is not really spiritual. I should do something else. Or, I only meditate 10 minutes. That's not really spiritual enough. I should be meditating an hour. Then I'm really spiritual. So there's definitely going to be some feelings of wanting to improve your spiritual routine. Of course, some of them can start becoming a little bit unrealistic, but I do think that in general, this Virgo energy can act as an improvement to your spiritual routine. What could help you during this new moon, Libra, is to take a look at any fears that you have around pleasure and fun. Are you somebody that's afraid to have fun because then you're letting go of control? Then you're not sure what's going to happen and you need to sort of go with the flow. Are you afraid to go out on some dates because, then you need to have some conversations and you need to, share about how you're feeling and you don't really want to do that? Are you afraid to have fun because you think, it's not productive? I need to be, doing things. I need to be sitting on that meditation cushion. Addressing these fears during this new moon will definitely help you in feeling motivated in your spiritual routine, and also help you understand, okay, what are the adjustments that I want to make? What are the improvement steps that I want to take with my spiritual routine? Scorpio, this new moon on August 22nd and 23rd is all about your friendships. You might become very aware of you perhaps not being the best friend, or maybe your friendships not really being up to the standards that you would like them to be. And you might just find yourself being very picky about spending time with your friends, the things that they say. There might be feelings of something needs to change here, something needs to be improved here. I maybe need to be a better friend, or I need to get better friends. What could help you during this new moon, Scorpio, what could help you identify what the improvement points are and how to move forward, is really taking a look at the fears that were instilled in you from childhood. Was there anything that your parents taught you about what friendship means that has influenced the way you see friendships today? Did your parents have a fear of having too many friends or spending time with friends because then their partner would get jealous? Really, really dig down deep to your upbringing. You might find that dealing with these fears is going to help you move forward and cultivate better aligned friendships. Sagittarius, this is potentially a very interesting new moon for you. It's happening at the top part of your chart in your 10th house. You are most likely thinking about your work or the contribution that you make to society. And you're probably thinking that something needs to change. Either you need to show up better at your work and be a better employee, a better boss, a better CEO, a better freelancer. But it might also feel like your role or your job just doesn't fit and it needs to improve. You might feel like whatever's happening around this new moon, that it just feels so wrong. It feels like everything your coworkers say and everything your boss does is just not up to your standards. And of course, it can be frustrating, but I think that this Virgo energy can, productively move us forward to something better. And we are talking about the Virgo energy, which is about being of service to others. So you might feel like you need to step towards a job that actually feels fulfilling, feels meaningful, and it feels like you're actually having a real impact on society or on others. What could help you during this time is staying curious and staying open-minded. You might have some fears, Sagittarius, around that. You might think that staying curious would mean that you lose focus, or that being open-minded would mean you lose sight of your own morals and your own values. But that doesn't have to be the case. Address those fears, stay curious, explore, and you might find just the perfect thing opening up so that you can apply that Virgo energy and improve your job, improve your work, and the role that you play. Capricorn, this is probably going to be a very reflective new moon for you. It's happening in your 9th house of your belief and ideologies, and you might become very aware of you believing in some things, but your life not actually showing that. You think you're somebody that you're compassionate, and you're compassionate, and you're humble, and you're giving. But then you take a look at, the gifts that you've given your friends for their birthdays over the summer, and you're like, that's not really something a giving person would do. Or, you are somebody that loves animals and believes in animal rights. But when is the last time you were at an animal shelter? When is the last time you volunteered for a friend to dog sit for them while they were out of town? You might be very, very aware of your values, who you say you are, and the fact that maybe your actions are not aligned with that. You will want to improve that, which is a wonderful way to direct that Virgo energy. And what could help you is to first address the fears that you have of being independent. What do you think will happen if you're truly independent? If you can take care of yourself, if emotionally, physically, mentally? Do you think that, others won't need you anymore? Others won't like you anymore because you don't need them? Are you afraid that then you're not going to have any meaningful connections and relationships? By taking a look at that, you might find that resolving these fears is helping you move forward towards actually living more in line with your values. Aquarius, during this new moon, you might be very aware of how much you still have to learn when it comes to vulnerability, having open and honest conversations. You might have thought, yeah, of course, I can do that. I can be honest about what I'm feeling or thinking. And then maybe something happens during this new moon where you realize, oh, I definitely still have a lot to learn in this area. And what you might find around this new moon is that you're also learning by seeing how others do it. It could happen around this new moon that you have somebody else open up to you. They're vulnerable. They share their dark thoughts or emotions, and you're there for them, and you experience it with them. And that experience and helping them guide through that experience probably is a huge learning point for you as well. What could also help you during this time, Aquarius, is to really take a look at the fears that you have about being unique and standing out from the crowd. Are you afraid that if you really do what you want to do, people are not going to like you, people are not going to be your friends anymore? If you really address those fears, you will find that you are finally able to share what you really think. You're finally able to be vulnerable and to be yourself. And Pisces, well, let's close off with you. This new moon is all about your relationships. And you might be quite picky with your partner during this time. Might feel like no matter what they do, it's just the wrong thing. They're always leaving their things all around the house. They're always saying the wrong things. And this can be a really tough energy, honestly. Virgo wants improvements. And sometimes Virgo can think, like, this is not the partner for me. I need a new, better partner. And I hope that with this new moon, you also remember that perfection is not achievable. Every partner you have will probably have one thing or another that is challenging to live with. There's one thing or another that you don't like so much. So I really hope that you direct this Virgo energy with your partnership and take a look at, how can I improve as a partner? How can I help my partner and be of service to them? Instead of thinking, I need something new and better. And what could also help Pisces is taking a look at the fears that you have of letting go. Letting go of control, letting go of this image of perfection. Who are you without, the partner that earns this much money? Who are you without that job that gives you this status? Who are you if you just let things go and everything was to fall away and go to ruin? If you address some of those fears that, you think like, well, nobody's going to like me anymore, or, I won't be able to pay the bills or whatever. If you address those fears, you might find that fuels your partnership and these thoughts that you're having there in a positive manner. Helps you understand that there's something deeper to that connection with your partner that goes beyond the socks on the floor or the teacups on the counter. So that is the horoscope for this new moon in Virgo. It's happening again on August 23rd or 22nd, depending on where you're living. And I hope that we can all focus on trying to be better, but also remembering that there's no such thing as perfection, and that sometimes just little steps forward are already a great improvement. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this horoscope, and let me know down below if you're looking forward to this new moon. I hope to see you again soon.